Ages defined the lifespan of an empire. The age of pioneers, the age of conquests, the age of commerce, the age of affluence, the age of intellect, ending with bread and circuses in the age of decadence. There are common features to every age of decadence. An undisciplined, overextended military, the conspicuous display of wealth.
And that's the time frame, the period of time we are dealing with, the age of decadence. All types of debauchery everywhere, man. It is ridiculous.
A massive disparity between rich and poor. A desire to live off a bloated state. And an obsession with sex.
Man, that's the society we are in today, brothers. You few sisters, everything has been overly sexualized. Even when you try to go to the gym, I try to go early when I go. You women out there, goddamn, man. Everything is overly sexualized, man. Walking down the street, going to the supermarket, you can't, the apps, man, ass everywhere, man. Overly sexualized. And if you don't have no discipline, the Spirit of the Lord is not with you. The lusty desires, you're going to give into that shit, man. How we know? Because we were once there. We were once there, man, surrounded by all this vibration of sex, man.
But perhaps the most notorious trait of all is the debasement of the currency. The United States and Great Britain both began on a gold or silver standard, long since abandoned. Rome was no different.
What? Rome was no different.
Hey, Shalom. I want to give our praise and honor give honors to the apostles, give honors to the elders of great millstones. Salutations to you, Akim, that are teaching the truth and sincerity across the four corners of the earth. Hey, Brother Kabash from the GMS Atlanta camp. I hope that find lesson through the spirit of Yahweh Bashem Kakadash. And with this lesson, I'm going to get into basically what Elder Barak from the California camp went into, going into, America is on the decline because of what happened in many other empires. Upon their decline, the similar things happen that are happening in these modern day times, in these modern day kingdoms. What they call the modern day kingdoms today is societies, and who's running the show in this society? Well, Esau. But the point I want to make is that our people are so far gone in this world that they don't see the end coming. They don't see the end times coming. And the Lord has put His words out here, which are the scriptures, to warn our people and teach our people His ways, so that when He comes back, you'll be blameless. And also, the future of the nation of Israel, where we're headed to after this great catastrophe that's coming along with the end of Esau's societies. We're at the end of Esau's world. Jacob is the beginning of it that follow it. So we warn you, Israelites, through the spirit of Yahweh Hashem Rashad, to get right with the Heavenly Father. If not, then you'll be destroyed along with Esau and his angels, like it says in Matthew chapter 25 goes into that. Matthew chapter 25 verse 41. Then shall he say also unto them on the left hand, depart from me, ye cursed, into everlasting fire, prepared for the devil and his angels. Now, if you read a couple of verses up, you'll see what they was going into. The Lord had the right hand side, which were made for the elect, which was talking about the elect, pertaining to the sheep. And the Lord was talking about also the left hand side, which were the goats, which represent the wicked. You can also see Daniel's, I think, chapter chapter 7 or 8 talks about Alexander the Great being the goat that conquered the ram, which is the Persian Empire. But basically, the goat represents Esau, because Esau is the end of the world. Alexander the Great, he was Edomite. Um, nation of Greece was ruled by Edomites and the Roman Empire as well. But basically, going into, those on the left hand side being burned in everlasting fire, that's talking about Esau, because, he's represented as the devil. He's the wicked. He's the encounter partner of Satan in the earth. Also, you have these other nations that are in bed with him as well. But ultimately, the Lord is coming back for Esau, because really he has the world in his hands. Even though this world was made for many. But also, too, Revelation chapter 14 goes into whoever takes that mark is going to be burnt in that eternal fire, which the nuclear missile is going to be shot. Because Jake, you wasn't supposed to partake in taking that chip that he's going to cause all the world to take. Like it says in Revelation chapter 13, verse 16, because he's making a great reset in this world. And you see the dollar is collapsing. You've seen in that video that the elder has showed about the decline of the dollar along with the morality. What's going to be in exchange for that dollar? The chip, the RFID chip, which they've been promoting for decades. And now we're at the point to where they're going to implement it, and it's going to be mandatory. And if you don't take that chip, you're not going to be able to buy or sell. You're not going to be able to do the things that you are normally doing right now. But the Lord said, like it says in Revelation chapter 14, I think around the 9th verse, the Lord said, you're going to burn in that fire too. So those that was on the left-hand side, where the Lord told that they should go into the fire, and it's not everlasting, but it's for some time, and it's in America, because America is Babylon the Great, spiritually Babylon the Great. Those are the ones that took the chip, that took the mark. The Lord wasn't just saying it as a parable. That was a true, that parable was lined up with true facts, should I say. This is Revelation chapter 14, verse start at verse 8. And there followed another angel saying, Babylon is fallen, that great city, because she made all nations drink of the wine of the wrath of her fornication. And one of the fornications is them implementing that chip, and having you believe that that's a righteous thing, but really you just claiming that Esau is your master forever. He's your God. Because Esau, he plays on the Bible too. That's why they call themselves the people of the Lord. These so-called Jew rats, or these so-called Jews, but they are rats too. With the all, that's what they're basing, this chip off of. I wouldn't be surprised, because everything that they do, they try to put the Bible into it. Like the President of the United States, when they get inaugurated, they put their hands on the Bible and swear on an oath. I think President Ronald Reagan, he established the year of the Bible. That's the one of the foundations of America. So you telling me they ain't going through detail and seeing what the all was represented in the first 5 books? about if a Hebrew slave to his master, which the Lord put that, but really it's Hebrew servant, because we know slave to our own brethren. Um, but we did service our brethren if our brethren had much like riches or wealth, or was well off, and we worked for him. Then yes, he would be the boss. Just like Jacob and Lebanon. The brother of Rebecca, Jacob mother. Jacob worked for Lebanon for 7 years, but he didn't stay with him forever. He only worked for the two wives, Rachel and Leah, which was really 14 years, because Lebanon made him wait for Rachel. But going back to the all, our people, if they work for their brethren, they will, if they wanted to work for them forever, they would place their ear up to the doorpost, and the brethren that was the master will put the all in their ear to represent that they are forever their servant. With the same thing what Esau's doing, that's going to be taking the place of this dollar that's collapsing right now, or has already collapsed. It's just the power that B is keeping it in circulation, because it's damn sure ain't the people. I don't give a damn what they say, the faith of the people. No, it ain't, man. We seen that in the Crown 19 pandemic days, where everybody was submissive to the government's mandating laws. Everybody was afraid to buck up against it. You had a few individuals that was loony, but everybody bowed down to it, even post years and months after the pandemic. So, or should I say months? Because it was only like a year and some change after the pandemic, but people still wearing masks. So how much more with this RFID chip? So the Lord is gonna punish our people in particular, because we as the Israelites, we are the only ones that can serve the Lord. We ain't supposed to serve no other God, just like it says in Exodus chapter 20. But our people are claiming that Esau is a God. Like it says in Romans chapter 1 verse 25, and Isaiah chapter 14 goes into how Esau is trying to be like the Most High. Which the Most High is what people will verbatim to say is God. So he's going to cause this system to collapse. And it's all prophetic. And he's going to cause every man, woman, and child, no matter what status they have in society, he's going to make them take that chip. But for our people, the Lord said, don't take it. Just like the Lord told us when we entered into Babylon, ancient Babylon, with King Nebuchadnezzar, he said, I think it's in Baruch chapter 6 in the Apocrypha, or if you have the app, is the letter of Jeremiah chapter 1, I think around the 6th verse. Well, you can start at the top. It goes into how the Lord told Jeremiah to tell Israel that when you go in and serve into your captivity in Babylon, don't be dismayed by the gods that these other people worship outside of Israel. The Lord said, always keep his words in mind, and abstain from worshiping other gods. It's the same thing in these times. Though we're in captivity, we don't wholeheartedly follow after Esau's ways. We get our daily bread, we deal with them on the jobs, and that's it. We don't get into the world like that. But in these times, the Lord testing our people just like he did in that time. But this time, this is the end all be all. And like it says in Revelation chapter 3 about the hour of temptation that's going to come and try the world. Well, that's the great testing when Esau implements this mark of the beast, which is the RFID chip, when the dollar collapsed. And we fastly approaching it. So that's the fornication that the Lord is talking about, and also, like I said, if you are an Israelite, you so-called Negro, Latino, Native American Indians, if you drink of that wine that Esau is pouring out, you're going to be destroyed. And it says right here in verse 9, and the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast and his image and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, no matter which hand, because a lot of people like to say the right hand if you get in your right hand, but they stupid. I'll tell you, the spirit ain't dealing with them, yo. Verse 10, it says, the same should drink of the wine of the wrath of Yahweh, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation. What is the wine of the wrath of the Lord? I just read it in Matthew chapter 25, verse 41. The everlasting fire. What is the everlasting fire? It's talking about the nuclear missiles. It's not literally an everlasting fire. But the Lord did create the goldsmith. You know, he created these different scientists to come up with this nuclear bomb. And so technically it is the everlasting fire because, you know, the Heavenly Father created it, but, you know, it's not everlasting like people like to think. You know, this fire is talking about the nuclear missiles, and it's coming to destroy America, where our people dwell at. And it's going to hit everywhere else, but mainly here in America. The Lord put emphasis on Babylon the Great, which is America. Why? Because what we just saw in this video about, you know, the declining of a kingdom that's in this decadence. We're definitely in the last age, which is the end of a world, and that world is talking about Esau. Second Ezra chapter 6, verse 9 goes into that. And it says right here, the same should drink of the wine of the wrath of Yahweh, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation. And he should be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. Yeah, when we go up in the chariots, if you're not written in the book of life and you're an Israelite, because these other nations, they don't have no chance of getting saved. They're going to be destroyed. If you're not an Israelite, so-called Negro, so-called Latino, so-called Native American Indian, you're not going to be delivered by the Lord in those chariots, which are the so-called UFOs. You're going to be in that lake of fire, which is the nuclear missile destruction in this World War III. If you take that mark, and if you don't repent beforehand, because this world passes away. You know, just like the brother, like I like to mention again, Elder Barak showed in that lesson that he did. You know, the end of this society. You know, that's the world that's passing away, and Jacob's world is about to begin, which is the kingdom of heaven. And it says right here, and he should be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. So in the presence of Yahweh Shai and in the presence of the elect. And the smoke of their torment ascended up forever and ever, and they have no rest day nor night, who worship the beast and his image, and whosoever received the mark of his name. Now we don't know how it's going to play out. You know, whether Jake died instantly when the nuclear missiles hit, or the Lord just keep them there for, you know, a little hot second in their body, and then have them, you know, go off to the spirit world with them. You know, because our spirits is of the Most High, each and every one of us, whether we be good or bad. So, you know, the Lord ain't gonna destroy his spirit, but the Lord does know how, you know, how long we can tolerate stuff. You know, it's all in the imagination of the Lord on how he's gonna do it. But especially you Jakes, man, they can do anything to you when you get that chip. They can turn your chip off and have you not getting your monies on the chip. You know, they can disapprove you everything that was going on without that chip in the world, and you just mainly getting by hustling. It's not gonna really work when you get the chip. So you're gonna be going through that torment when you receive if you receive that chip. Esau playing games with you, and you're basically in hell. You're in deeper hell now. Then ultimately the blasting of the nuclear missiles, man. So right here in 1 John chapter 2, verse chapter 2, verse 15. Love not the world, neither the things that are in the world. Like I said, we just passing through as pilgrims before the Lord comes. But we still must attend the Lord's ministry, because that's what shows our faith. A lot of Jake is getting knocked off here and there, man. They just had a major shootout in California, Baja. And, Jake, that's of the Northern Kingdom. And there may have been, some Southern Kingdom there, but they're getting slaughtered, man. Everywhere in the world, especially in America, Jake is just going through it. And the Lord especially is turning up the heat on Jake that is not in his truth in the world, whether it goes from babies, toddlers, children, adolescents, young women, middle-aged women, young men, elderly men. The Lord is causing the sword to hit them, or pestilence, famine. I heard one incident where this man, he was of age. I think he was the grandfather of his grandson, and I think he took him in his custody, but his grandfather had passed away, and the young toddler, he didn't really know much about feeding himself and cleaning himself and whatnot. So when his grandfather passed in front of him in the apartment, the baby just started just crying. The baby cried until it was off and on, of course, but the baby couldn't feed itself, so the baby would be crying, and it starved out. The baby had starved to death because the baby didn't know how to feed itself, clean itself. The baby didn't know to call anybody because the grandfather was all he knew, and that was in some apartments. So the Lord is causing famine, to hit Jake too, and that was a Jake baby that went through that hell, pertaining to the grandfather. Ezekiel chapter 9, verse 4 and 5. Particularly verse 5 goes into how the Lord said, "Those that are in my hearing, slay utterly, show no pity, slay utterly young and old." That's what the Lord's doing right now. So it really rings an alarm to seek the Lord while he may be found. Like it says in Isaiah chapter 55, verse 6. This is verse 15. Love not the world, neither the things that are in the world. If any man love the world, the love of the Father is not in him. So when Esau come down with this chip, he come all humble and nice. Don't believe him. Simply don't believe him. Because you heard about what's to come in the end concerning the chip, which is the mark of the beast. How he's going to construct the society. It's going to be going to be a 1984 society in a minute. It's going to be it's already a prison state, but it's going to be concentration camps and rationing of food. You think you're gonna continue to live on with the chip in your hand, like and freely go wherever you want? Nah, Esau ready to lock this place down. He's through with America as an asset. And I believe one of the Rothschilds in 2017, I think he sold a lot of uh, American assets. He was just getting his returns from what he invested in America. Because even the elite see that which America wasn't supposed to be prosperous in this sense anyway, how the elite planned it. There's some books going into that, but the elite see that America is falling, but they ain't going to go out without a fight, just like many other empires. And says right here in verse 16, for all that is in the world, the lust of the flesh and the lust of the eyes and the pride of life is not of the Father, but is of the world. And the world passeth away, and the lust thereof, but he that doeth the will of Yahweh abideth forever. So this world passeth away, and the lust thereof, meaning the desires of this world. He mentioned, this world advocates sex. If you pay attention, wherever city that you live in America, you'll see a pattern or algorithm within your city or town, especially the city. And I have traveled too within America, and it's kind of like the same thing. Some places are far more extreme, but they pretty much the same thing. Every Friday, every weekend, or hump day into the weekend, that particular city will be in this party lustful spirit. I'm down here in Atlanta, and that's the algorithm down here. The algorithm down here in Atlanta is party, or everybody's hanging out, taking the load off from a hard week's work, spending or overspending and spending money. And we seen, in that video, that's just revealing that it's the end of it's the end of a kingdom. The manner of how these people are carrying themselves, and it's true. But the Lord said we should see all these things, then we should know that it is the very same time wherein the Most High spake of. 2 chapter 9:1. He answered me again and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs past, which I have told thee before, then should thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. And the Lord is visiting this world. Why? Because it's the last end. And the Lord is about to crank it up even more vicious. It's a time when it never happened ever since the beginning of mankind. We have entered into those times, but it's going to get worse though. It's going to get worse. At the time of Jacob's trouble, all of these things are here. So yeah, that's all I wanted to get. So with that, I want to say all praise and honor glory to you. Shalom.